So I am a professional guitarist, educator, bandleader, and composer. I started playing music back when I was 6 years old. I had a bit of a knack of playing my grandparents' piano and just plucking out melodies from ear, and my parents recognized that I had maybe something musical inside of me, so I started lessons, and really, it's been a whirlwind ever since. I'm 29 now, and I started guitar when I was 11, and that's been my primary instrument ever since, going through all sorts of genres from death metal to rock to jazz. I got 2 degrees in jazz guitar and spent many years playing in funk bands and rock bands like Doc Robinson. I've really just spent my life in music. And one of the great things about it is that it's been such a diverse set of skills that I've had to learn and so many different hats I've had to put on. And any given week, I'm teaching at 2 different universities. I'm writing my own music. I'm putting out educational videos under my company Beyond the Frets. And I'm teaching students online all over the world, playing gigs all over the country, etc. I've just been super, super blessed to live this life. The latest song that I at least recorded and put out is on my new EP entitled In My Life. And my original song on that album is called Coyote Blues. It's kind of interesting. Long story short, I got to spend a month in Seaside, Florida in February of 2020, right before the pandemic. It was an unfortunate dichotomy between living in paradise in February of 2020 and then going back home in March and, the world shutting down. But I was able to spend a month writing music in Seaside, Florida, thanks to an art program down there called Escape to Create. And I was messing around with a looper pedal, which typically means that I would plug in and you hit a button and I record my guitar myself and it plays it back for me and I can play other things on top of it. But I did it the reverse way, where I uploaded tracks to it. And I ended up finding some cool field recordings from Yellowstone National Park, and they had these recordings of coyotes howling at night, and I just found them to be really haunting. And I just had them on this looper pedal, and I pressed play, and I was able to play guitar over it and kind of come up with something. So the howls and just that nature and kind of the serene beauty, but also the mystery of these animals kind of developed into this song called Coyote Blues, where it's really slow and kind of murky and a little bit crazy at times, but also, I would say, haunting and has a lot of patience as well, just like those animals. I've always loved composing music. It's one of the things that really excites me no matter what. Especially in, not only the process of writing music, which I think is really fun. I get to sit down and there's so many different ways to be inspired. Like, for instance, I wrote a suite of music inspired by my great-grandfather's poetry. He was an Afro-Cuban man that survived Pearl Harbor and ended up becoming a scientist in the University of California system of schools. And he also wrote poetry. And I was able to use his poetry directly as a guide, as a way, an inspiration to write music for big band and chamber orchestra. But it could be as simple as just watching a movie or walking down the street, something just pops in your head. I have a whole list of potential song names, just phrases or little things that come up to me, because sometimes I can get inspired by a little line like that. It can kind of, really put a bug in my ear. Or oftentimes I sit down with my guitar and I play around until I find something cool. I follow my ear. There's a lot of that. There's so many different ways to do it. And my favorite part about writing songs is hearing it live. From the moment of inception, I'm always wondering, well, is this going to work? Is this going to sound good? What is this going to be like when it actually has some life to it? And when I put it in front of musicians, whether it's just my trio where there's 3 of us or a whole big band where there's 20 plus people, I'm just always so thrilled at those first notes and hearing and thinking, wow, this might actually work. I got to tweak some things, got to go back to the drawing board maybe, but this will work. And that always just gives me so much excitement and credence, I guess, to keep moving forward and following this craft. I think a lot of people want to get caught up in the theory or the technical parts of music. And trust me, I have a master's degree in jazz guitar, so I'm well aware of all the theory that is out there, and I love nerding out on those elements of music. But quite frankly, whenever I set out to write something, if I have a goal of, okay, I'm going to write a song in time signature of 7/8, if I have a very prescriptive limitation like that, sometimes that can work, but oftentimes I try to fit things into a box and it ends up being kind of a square peg in a round hole situation. So although I believe that composition is a craft that you can practice every day, there are many ways to practice composing every day. My favorite compositions and songs have always just come to me in a flash. And I truly believe that all the music in the world, all the art in the world, it's already out in the universe. It's already been made in some sort of way, in some sort of time, in some sort of space. And I'm just lucky enough on some days to tap into that song of the universe and kind of extract it and say, okay, here it is. I found this. This music isn't mine. Even though I compose it, even though I sit down alone and write it myself, it's really not mine. I don't own it. No one owns music. I'm just able to give this art a space to grow, a space to write it down, space to give it to other musicians. So, long story short, my advice would be to really follow your ears and go with your gut. And I know sometimes it takes a long time. Like I write, a riff or a melody, and I just sit on it for months. I'm like, gosh, I have no idea what to do with this, and I sort of give up. But then months later, I write something else, and I realize, oh my gosh, these go together. This is my song. So always catalog everything you have, whether it's voice memos or recording in GarageBand or Logic, whatever it is. Documentation is really important to have that, because you never know when an idea from 2 years ago is going to fit with an idea that you have right now. You can find me everywhere, just under the name Zakk Jones, Zakk Jones. You can find me on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, etc. I also have a podcast called Beyond the Frets. You find that anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Those are the best places to find my personal music. Again, my latest EP is called In My Life. Features more of a funky side of my instrumental trio. We play some Earth, Wind & Fire and D'Angelo and the Beatles and Herbie Hancock. Really proud of that record. And I'm also in a band, Doc Robinson. You can check us out everywhere. It's a super fun original rock band. That is all I have. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'm really humbled to be on the table read, and I hope you can look me up, catch some of my music, and drop me a line on Instagram, on Facebook, hit up my email, hit up my website, whatever. I'm available. So take care.